Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So I'm on BoxingScene.com, as you can see here, and I'm looking at this article they just put out. Dillian White says we are trying to make noise to get the Wilder fight. All right, now we know that Dillian White will be fighting Malcolm Tan tomorrow on the Crawford versus Ndongo. Shouts out to Crawford and Ndongo, man, to both of them dudes making that undisputed title fight with no excuses. They just got it done, you know what I mean? So shouts out to them. I can't wait for that fight tomorrow. But on the undercard, we know there's two heavyweight fights taking place. Ryan Jennings is fighting Daniel Martz, and then you got Dillian White taking on Malcolm Tan. Okay, so this is what Dillian White had to say. Let me just read what he had to say here. He says, it's good to make some noise stateside because we are trying to make some noise to get the Deontay Wilder fight, White told Sky Sports. It's good to come here, put on the show, hopefully get the KO and go home. I am at a level now where I am just 1 or 2 fights away from big mega fights. So we have to think about what we're going to do. I was having a conversation with Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith the other day, saying what we can do and what kind of fights can we get in the meantime, because ultimately we are waiting for the big world title fight, either Joseph Parker or Deontay Wilder. White wants to avenge the first defeat of his pro career, a TKO loss to Anthony Joshua in 2015, and says the best way to make the rematch a major event is to capture Wilder's title. Okay, I definitely want a rematch with Joshua, but the one thing in boxing I have learned is it's all about timing. Timing is key, White said. I definitely want to fight Deontay Wilder, and I'm ready for those fights. But the problem with Joshua fight is it's there. It's a big fight, but it doesn't make business sense now. If I become world champion, we can do it massively, and it becomes a big fight for me, for him, and for the fans. As far as that part, yeah, I think if he were to somehow become a world champion and Joshua still has his IBF and WBA, or if he has one belt or 2 belt, yeah, it'd be a big unification fight. A unification fight, especially a domestic fight like that, a rematch. The guys have history, you know. Yeah, I think it would be a good big fight. As far as him being 1 or 2 big fights away from a world title, I'm just curious to see who can he get a fight against in the meantime. I've heard Eddie Hearn say, after this, as the UK fans put it, tick over. I just learned that term a few weeks ago. After this tick over fight, they're looking to have a big fight. And I'm assuming, meaning I know he's trying to get a world title shot, but I'm assuming like a Dominic Brazil type of fight, maybe a Jarrell Miller type of fight. Hopefully one of those type of fights. I don't think that they're trying to just let Dillian White just fight journeyman level fighters and then, try to get himself a title shot. But when they say, come over here and make some noise stateside. Now, like I said in recent videos, man, maybe this is just the way we communicate here in the U.S. versus the way they communicate in the UK is probably different. But when you say things like make some noise and make a splash and, that type of stuff, we assume, and I know it's an 8-rounder. And look, let me just get this out the way because I know people in the comment section are going to bring it up. Okay, yes, it's not Eddie Hearn's show. Yes, the budget wasn't big. Yes, it's an 8-rounder. Okay, that's cool. And I know they're looking forward to bigger and better fights. But when you say those type of things, most USA fans will think, well, if you're coming over here to make noise, you're coming over here to fight somebody formidable. Maybe a Amir Mansour, maybe even like a Travis Kaufman, a Chris Arreola, somebody of note. There's not going to be too many people that even know who Malcolm Tan is. I know who he is, and there's going to be a few of us, but they're hardcore, like, boxing fan nerds. You know what I mean? Like, I remember Malcolm Showstopper Tan on the Fox Sports Best Damn Sports Show boxing series. I remember watching him ESPN. I remember a few of his fights, man. He was like one of the up and coming contenders in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? Then he took 9 years off. He came back. He just took the 9 years off. He came back last year and he upset a undefeated prospect, Nick Asbury. Asbury was actually a part of that Tyson Fury camp when Fury was getting ready for Klitschko the first time. But anyways, yeah, he upset Asbury, and then he just had a fight a few months ago against Sergey Kuzmin, and he got stopped. Okay, so those were his two comeback fights after 9 years off from the sport. So a lot of fans, they're not going to know. Even when he was around, there was a lot of fans that didn't know who he was, unless you were, guys like myself and some other fans, not just me, but just the type of fans that follow those type of fights and those type of under the radar type of fighters. You know what I mean? But so I get what they're saying. Come over here, fight in front of the U.S. crowd. But if it's not going to be televised on ESPN and it's in Lincoln, Nebraska, I mean, that's not Fight Town, USA. You know what I mean? But it will be televised Sky, but that's the UK's network. You know what I mean? That's over there where they're at. You know what I mean? So they're just watching their guy. If this isn't televised by ESPN, a lot of American fight fans not even going to know that he fought this weekend over here. You know what I mean? So, and shit, they're talking about not even wanting to put Wilder versus Stavern on TV if that fight is made that rematch. Was hearing that going on. So if they're not trying to televise that fight, you know what I mean, and he's a title holder, you know what I mean, and Stavern's is mandatory. If they don't even want that on TV, and I know they fought before and Wilder beat him convincingly, and Stavern, a lot of people don't think he even deserves the mandatory spot. I understand all that. I'm factoring that in. But it's like, if that's not being televised and people not seeing that, I highly doubt. I mean, we'll see tomorrow when it's televised, but I'm not sure that Dillian White is going to be televised on ESPN tomorrow. So it's like, yeah, you come over here to fight in front of the U.S., but nobody's really going to see you except the people that are attending the fight. And depending on how early your fight comes on, I don't know if the venue will be even filled up by then. You guys get what I'm saying here? So I like that White is being active. I like that he's being active. I like that Jennings is coming back and he is being active. You know what I mean? But we'll see. This is a tickover, right? That's what they call it, a tickover. So after this tickover, or stay busy, shake the rust off, whatever, however you want to put it. Hopefully his next fight is against a noteworthy opponent. There are a lot of opponents out there. I would have loved to see the fight he had, but I know he got injured, or he said it was an injury. Although 2 days after that injury that came out with, he put up an Instagram post of himself hitting a heavy bag on his, I believe, was it an ankle injury or a foot injury? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But then he, like 2 days after that, actually put up the footage on my YouTube page. It was from Dillian White's Instagram. But I believe he had a fight with Wax scheduled months ago, and it fell through because of his, minor injury. And Hearn and White didn't want a chance, him going into that fight. Which is, if you're injured, you're injured. You know what I mean? It is, or if you're hurt or what. Well, to me, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. You know what I mean? Hurting is just, my ankle hurts or my wrist kind of hurts. It's just some pain. Injured is, to me, you can't compete. So, but anyways, man, yeah, that's what Dillian White had to say, and he is highly rated by a lot of these sanctioning bodies. And he believes he's 1 or 2 fights away from a big fight, and that's a title shot. Hughie Fury and Parker about to fight, so it's not a foregone conclusion that Parker beats him. I think that'd be a good fight if Hughie Fury were to fight like Dillian White or even Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder, there's other guys I would rather see him fight. I'd rather see him in there in a unification fight if that can happen. They're talking Luis Ortiz, probably, get rid of his or get past his mandatory situation. But Dillian White is somebody that I wouldn't mind seeing him fight. I'm not necessarily throwing that fight out the window, but there are other fights I would want to see besides Dillian White. And some people, they will say Mr. Boxing, he would make way more money if he fought Dillian White. They offered him X, Y, and Z. Why would he fight Luis Ortiz? Well, I look at it from a fan's point of view. I rate Luis Ortiz higher than Dillian White. So I think he will get more credit for beating Luis Ortiz than he would Dillian White. Now, if I'm his manager or I'm on his team and I'm breaking bread with him, then I guess, yeah, I guess the taking the bigger money fight would make sense for that reason. You know what I mean? But that's the thing on here, man. I try to just come from a fan's point of view. Yes, I am factoring in the business, but I just want the best fights possible. But if, these dudes are going to choose what they want to fight regardless, man. So I just like to talk about the best fights possible that I would like to see. Factoring in the business, yeah, it would be a much more lucrative fight for Wilder if he were to fight Dillian White. But take care of the mandatory. And then, possibly try to fight like Ortiz. If Ortiz isn't, I know he got this thing going on with the WBA. It's just so much going on here, man. It's kind of hard doing one of these videos without talking about everything over again. You know what I mean? It's like, so yes, for those of you in the comment section, I know I've been reading about everything that's going on. I've been reading about it all, man. But I'm just trying to focus in on what Dillian White had to say about this particular topic. All right, but you guys, let me just think in the comment section, man. I'm out.